Always lousy options when it comes to war, and right now many members of Congress are struggling with what to do. Meanwhile, some have emerged leaders on this issue and are quite forceful. ABC News political director Rick Klein is here. Nice to see you, Rick.
Hey, Greta.
What does it look like in terms of a vote on Capitol Hill right now? Let's go to the Senate first.
The Senate vote has been postponed, in part because of President Obama saying that he welcomes what the Russian leadership has said in this, but really this is about saving face. This was going to lose, in all likelihood, or at least put members in such a difficult spot that Harry Reid, the majority leader, decided, let's not do this. So they have put this off. They know that realistically this is going to be a tough sell to their members, and they don't want to go through it if it's just a symbolic gesture.
And on the House side, is dead in the water?
As of tonight, there's no question about it. We tallied them up, and we've been calling every member's office that we can, and so far we've got 243 who say no or likely that they're going to oppose this. So that's a margin of about 25, 26 that would have to change their minds affirmatively and go support a military strike for this to have a chance of passing, not to mention all the undecideds in right there. The president doesn't have the public on his side. He definitely doesn't have the Congress on his side, and that is one big factor, I think, in what the president's new openness to this Russian gambit is.
Well, you talk about saving face. The president saves face if this works. And in fact, I was rereading the transcript from Diane Sawyer, who works with you, ABC, her interview with President Obama, and he says in response to one of her questions, I don't think we would have gotten to this point unless we had maintained a credible possibility of a military strike. When I read that from her interview, I assumed that he was like really banking on this working out and sort of almost doing a victory dance that this is now going to work out, that Assad's going to hand over his stockpile to Putin or somebody. But if this goes belly up, this is even a worse problem for him.
It's half victory dance, but also half rallying cry, because he still needs Congress to get in on this, and he still wants to push for that vote eventually. I'm not sure that vote's ever going to happen at this stage, but I think this at least buys the White House some time. They were in a bad spot politically at home. There's clearly this move that he made in going to Congress with this. It was either a miscalculation or a misunderstanding of where congressional leadership and the congressional rank and file were, because then a week went by, members of Congress heard from their constituents, they didn't like what they were hearing, and that's why the president had to reassess strategy.
In today's turn of events, it seems that what the goal is to get the stockpile out of Assad's hands, get it away from him. It seemed to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that a week ago we were discussing punishing him for doing it. Have we now changed our goal, or am I reading this wrong?
No, I think there's been a slight shift in that, and part of it is the fact that they realized that punishment would have had to be about influencing behavior going forward. And they've been trying for a long time, for decades, to get Assad to rule out chemical weapons. So that they could see as a victory. And honestly, this was not going to change the course of a civil war regardless. That was not going to be the administration's intent. So if the point was just to slap Assad's wrist and say, hey, bad Assad, don't do that again, this is a way that you can guarantee it won't happen again if they're able to get chemical weapons in the hands of international authorities.
Rick, always nice to see you. Rick Klein of ABC News. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Greta.